Hello everyone, I hope y'all are doing well and having a great Wednesday night. Tonight we're going to be talking about our winter storm that'll be moving through really throughout the night tonight into tomorrow on Thursday here into the northeastern United States. And then we'll be looking at some of the snowfall totals for some of the models and just really be breaking down some of the aspects of this storm that'll move into the northeast. And then for the second half of the video, or really for most of the video, we'll be talking about our pattern for the medium and long range, and we'll be discussing what we may need to watch over the next couple of days as far as weather systems go. So let's go ahead and get started with tonight's update. So first, starting out here with the GFS weather model, and so this is the 0Z run, and it is loading, and the run is continuing to load as I'm recording this, but we'll be able to see just the this particular storm, and so we won't have to worry about it not being covered in the run. So if we look here, we have our low pressure up here into parts of Canada, and so this low pressure will continue to move east and dump quite a bit of snow into these areas over the next really 24 to 36 hours. And so again, that'll continue to move east and areas into the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and into the Northeast will get a good bit of snow from the system. And then by midday tomorrow on Thursday, the low is expected to be kind of around the northern Maine Canada border there, and then that'll continue on up into really Canada and up into the northeast, and then by really tomorrow night and then into Friday, the system is expected to be completely out of the United States, and you could see some more kind of back end snow kind of into the Great Lakes region and to the northeast as well. And then that lake effect snow will kind of kickstart as that system moves out sometime on really early Friday morning into maybe midday Friday. And now looking at our snowfall totals on the 12Z European weather model here. And so most of the snow has already fallen across parts of the Midwest United States, but I'll still include it into tonight's forecast here. But first, starting out really into Minnesota and Wisconsin, some of these areas, could see a dusting of snow, but more of the accumulating snow will be up into northern Wisconsin, and then obviously into the entire state of Michigan. Could see a considerable amount of snow, especially into northern Michigan. Some areas seeing 7, 8, even 9 inches in some isolated areas there, where that lake effect snow will kick in later into the week. And then even into Illinois, could see a dusting of snow. Indiana, Ohio, a dusting. Maybe some accumulations there into northern Kentucky. Even into West Virginia, could see a little bit of snow from this as well. And then even into northeast Ohio, places like this could see some accumulating snow with a large kind of swath here of maybe a dusting of snow into throughout now into Saturday midday. And now looking at the northeast for the total snowfall on the European model again. And so again, this is for tonight through Saturday midday. And so first starting out with, again, really Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania here. So again, into West Virginia, some areas in the state could receive 5 to 6 inches of snow. Even into Maryland, far western Maryland, could see 5, 6 inches of snow. And then into Pennsylvania, some isolated areas could see, I would say, even 8, even 9 inches of snow, with this large swath here of 1 to 2, even 3 inches possible there. And then into New York, the entire state of New York, or almost the entire state of New York, will probably see snow from this, with a large area of at least 1 to 2 inches possible. And then you have another swath here of 10, 11, maybe even a foot of snow possible, with even some areas seeing maybe over almost a foot and a half of snow, And then into northwest Pennsylvania as well, could see 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. And then another area here into kind of western New York State. And then looking at New Jersey could also see maybe an inch or a little over an inch of snow possible. Even a dusting of snow farther to the south of that in the southern part of the state. And then into parts of Connecticut, could see a couple of inches of snow, even into Rhode Island, maybe an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches possible there, into Massachusetts. A widespread area of 3 to 4, maybe even 5 inches of snow possible there, and then into Vermont and New Hampshire here. Vermont could see at least 5, 6, 7 inches of snow even throughout most of the state. Then into New Hampshire, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 inches possible, and 7 inches possible in some parts of the state throughout, again, midday Saturday, and then into Maine, just a large area of at least 3, 4, and 5 inches of snow possible, with this larger area of 7, 8, and 9 inches, maybe even a foot of snow in some areas are possible from now into Saturday midday. So now switching to more of our medium range to long range forecasts here. And so first we'll be starting out with the 0ZGFS here. And so again, here's our system up into the northeastern United States. That'll move out again later this week and then finally be out completely out of the United States by this weekend. And so what we're really watching is into the central and eastern part of the United States. And so if we go to Saturday, you have this moisture coming out of the Gulf, and then you have this low pressure up here in the northwestern United States. And so this low pressure continues on to the east throughout the weekend, and so areas into the northwestern United States could see some snow from this, even into the north central United States, the Dakotas, maybe Minnesota possibly. And then this is our system we're kind of watching into early next week. And so the cold air that is lingering around right now will really move out over the next couple of days, and so we'll get warmer, a lot warmer than we have been, and we'll have above average temperatures moving into parts of the eastern, really the entire eastern United States, and into these parts of the central United States with this system. And so most of the United States will see rain from this instead of snow, unfortunately, if you're a winter weather fan. But this could be an exception into parts of the extreme northeast, even to Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, but even some areas into the northeast will see rain instead of snow from this. And so we get this system up into Canada here, and then I'll move out, and then we have another system we're kind of watching here into the middle of next week, but again, it is just kind of far out and we can't pinpoint all the fine details with this right now. But that system would move up into the eastern US, and really one of the bigger questions here is with this second system is the severe weather threat. Some of the models have been showing a pretty potent system, and if we go back one run previous to this one, this shows we'll go a little bit forward, it shows kind of a winter storm event and a severe weather event on the eastern side of that. But again, this is just one run, and you can see not how quickly, but how different those two runs look. And that again is just one single run. And then that would move out likely late next week, but it's just uncertain if there would be cold air that would get into the system. Would that be a winter storm, more of a winter storm event? But I do think we could see some sort of severe weather threat from the system, but where is the big question, or who could see snow from this if there is cold air that gets into the system. So that's just some of the main things we need to watch there. And so if we look at the European weather model on this as well, switching to the we'll look at the 18Z run first from today, and then we'll look at the morning run, the 12Z run, in just a second. And so again, you have that system moving out of the northeast later this week, and then that continues on. You have your system to the northwest United States that moves in, delivers some snow into the Dakotas, Montana as well, just generally the northwestern United States. And then again, that is a rainmaker for the eastern U.S. and maybe just a little bit, I wouldn't say there is a big concern for severe weather for this, but I could see there being a little bit of a severe weather threat in the deep south, but nothing too major at this time. but that could definitely change. Again, that continues to move out and then moves out sometime early next week. Then if we look at the 12Z run here, and same thing, that system comes out of the south and moves into really the eastern U.S. And so this would be more of a not as much of a severe weather maker because of the location of the low pressure, since it's a lot farther east into the Atlantic. But that would be a potential snow maker for the Northeast. But again, this is 216 hours out, so it is well out into the forecast range. And again, this will change a lot over the next couple of days. So going back here, we'll compare this previous run to this one on the European model. And so again, if we go to the same time period, there is not even a system showing up. It's either it's probably well out in the Atlantic. So timing is uncertain at this time as well. But that is going to be it for the global models. We'll look at the Canadian actually really quickly. At the 0Z Canadian, same thing here, has that system giving a lot of rain to the eastern U.S. Then you have that system to the south, and then that's as far as the run goes, and it has some snow showing up into the mid-Atlantic. But again, we can't really get into specifics at this time. And so lastly, we'll be looking at the ensembles, and we'll look at the GEFS ensembles first. And so we'll look at our geopotential height. And so the areas in blue are areas of low pressure, and the areas in the reddish color are areas of high pressure. This is troughing, and this is the ridging. And so we'll switch to the 18Z run here because the 0Z hasn't went out too far. And so as you can see, here is our current pattern where we have, not really current, we'll go to now. Here is our more current pattern. And so we have that troughing into the really northeastern United States, not really the eastern U.S., but a ridge is set up in the western U.S., and that'll continue just for the next couple of days. That trough will move out, and then we'll have that ridging kind of move in, and then we'll have the area of energy to the south into Mexico there, and then we'll have that ridging moving on to the central and really eastern U.S. And so this will be the time period where we could get more above average temperatures compared to what we've been seeing. And so again, that ridge looks like it moves into the eastern U.S. You have just a kind of weak ridge set up there in the eastern U.S., and then you have troughing into the northwest, and that'll be with that other system there that we were just talking about earlier. And then you could have maybe troughing into next week into the eastern U.S., and then after that maybe a ridge sets up into the really entire U.S., but this could be a weak ridge. We're not too sure at this time, but if that ridge continues to build, then we'll likely have below average temperatures in the western U.S. and above average temperatures in the eastern U.S. Into that time period, kind of late next week into not this weekend, but next weekend. But that is far out, so I can't get into too specific details there. Well, that's just kind of the pattern we're looking at here. And then we'll look at the 12Z EPS ensembles here as well. And we'll go back a little bit here. Same thing here. Kind of ridging sets up late this weekend in the eastern U.S. You have that troughing there that moves into the central and eastern U.S. throughout the middle period of next week and the latter part of next week. And then you have ridging that moves in, and both the EPS and GEFS ensembles show this. So we'll probably have above average temperatures in much of the eastern and central U.S., and then maybe again troughing into this northwestern U.S. But again, there's just a lot to figure out, and we can't really pinpoint any small details. But one thing that I think we need to watch is if we go to the GFS here and go to next week again. So here's our system next week, in the middle of next week, and then you have that other system kind of showing up from the south there that moves through. And so I think we could see an active pattern after these systems move through, really just troughs coming down from the northwestern US and diving farther down. And with this ridge in place, I'm not sure how far north or south those systems will be, but I do think we'll have more of an active pattern than what we've been seeing, and we'll have more of these troughs that dive down farther to the south and are stronger than what we've been seeing as well. So we probably won't be seeing, those clipper systems in the northeast as much, and we'll be seeing more of these potent systems moving into maybe even to the central and eastern US. But again, I can't really give specifics just because it's so far out. I know I said that a lot, but it is just how it is with this with forecasting in the long range. But really, that'll be it for that. And actually, lastly, we'll look at 500 millibar heights here, and you can see this a little bit better with this ridging that could set up potentially afterwards. Let's go to the EPS 12Z, and so here's our kind of pattern here. The middle of next week, troughing there. You go a little bit farther into the forecast period, then you have ridging set up, and you have sort of a zonal flow across the United States. So those systems won't really dive south to the south end of the north, or stay north, I should say that, as much as they've been doing. So you'll probably have these, again, troughs that dive down, and they could go whichever way they really want to, because there's not a lot blocking them at that time period. So again, that'll be it for tonight's update, and that'll be it for the medium and long range forecast. So that'll be it for tonight's update. I really do appreciate all of y'all watching, and I appreciate all the support on my last couple of videos. I will try to have another video out maybe later this week, but if I don't have one out later this week, I'll have one out, or I'll try to have one out by this weekend. And really, next week I'm going to try to make at least a couple videos, just because it's going to get more active, and we'll have to talk about probably more than we have been. But that'll be it for tonight's update. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's Wednesday night.